For more than 30 years, he's been making films that challenge what we think we know about American culture and history. His documentaries about wars, politics, music, and sports have been both hugely popular and critically acclaimed. Here's Ken Burns.
The act, the art of writing, is by its very nature singular, almost sacred endeavor. The writer is alone in his or her thoughts, books, tentative outlines, and scribbled notes at the ready for possible inclusion, all grist for a mill that grinds on, often unobserved by any other. The conversations are entirely interior, sometimes taking place with unseen ghosts and untraceable echoes from across vast canyons and eons, but mostly, of course, with the voices battling from within that one person trying to get out. Collaboration, what takes place in filmmaking, seems like the opposite of all that. Busy, loud, dramatic, the corruption of the singular vision, a dilution of the focus a writer must possess. Filmmaking takes sometimes a perverse pleasure in deconstructing all that has been patiently assembled by the pitiful scribe, unlucky enough to submit to the indignities of the sausage making I happen to do for a living. Which is why I am so lucky tonight to be able to celebrate in front of you all the nearly 4 decades of work, sublime writing, our honoree Geoffrey C. Ward has created, mostly, I'm happy to say, for me and with me. Why he represents the most important and satisfying collaboration of my professional life. The fact that he has been submitting willingly and mostly cheerfully to a process that might drive other writers batty is an astonishing thing to me, made all the more so by the process we have together evolved with our comrades to make our films, historical documentaries focused exclusively on the remarkable and sometimes also dysfunctional republic we call the United States of America. Rather than limit our research and writing to a finite and relatively short period at the beginning of each project, we never stop researching and we never stop writing until the very last moments when the exigencies of broadcast deadlines demand that we abandon our creations. This means that Jeff's superlative prose goes through any number of, sometimes 20 or 25 wholesale revisions. This means that nothing, no matter how well written, is ever written in stone. That no scene, no paragraph, no sentence, sometimes no word is safe from the vagaries and insults of this process. But somehow, his voice is never diminished. His art never obscured by all the fussing we do with and around those words of his. They endure, and they are indelible. And it's hard to put it any other way, they wake me up. They have taught me so many things over the years. I have learned with Jeff to tolerate contradiction and undertow, to see in every so-called hero deep wounds and flaws, to find in the most venal of characters something that is redeeming, to live and breathe in every day of our collaboration the truth that there is most often more than one truth to every event we try to investigate, to every historical figure we try to wake from the dead. It's complicated, Jeff once said early on in our work together, a film about the turbulent Southern demagogue Huey Long. It's complicated. Indeed, it is. He has taught me and taught us all to welcome seemingly irreconcilable moments, to avoid the neatly wrapped packages we wish every scene could be. If film is of nature reductive compared with literature, Jeff has weaned us of that unacceptably narrow ambition. If film is essentially at times intellectually superficial, Jeff has shown us layers of meaning and then showed us how to express them. If film naturally tends to nostalgia and sentimentality and treacle, Jeff has shown us how to migrate those baser, cheap emotions into places of deep richness and texture, higher emotions that evoke some of the most powerful things I've ever felt. And he has done it all without artifice, without the bells and whistles, the tricks of the trade that are the stock in trade of many, eschewing the fancy for, well, the complicated. Some of the best sentences I have ever read have come from my friend Jeff Ward. They are spare and they are compound, suspicious mostly of adjectives and adverbs, almost as interested in the intervals between the words, like musical notations, as in the words themselves. And because of that and so much more, we've been able to make a kind of music together we have made over the last nearly 40 years. And it's made Jeff, who will protest now and insist he's just the writer, a great filmmaker too. With, I might add, a great sense of humor. Oh, and we have never yelled at each other, not once in 36 years. Often when we've spent an exhausting day trying to make a film better, or when, after a decade, we've locked a particularly challenging project, Jeff will look at me and say the best thing anyone has ever said to me at work: glad to know you. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend and colleague receiving tonight this year's Ian McLellan Hunter Award for Career Achievement in Writing, Geoffrey C. Ward. Glad to know you.
Give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby wrote me a letter. I don't care how much money I gotta spend. Got to get back to my baby. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home.
Thank you very much. This is a very great honor, and I am, if I start naming people and looking at them, I will disgrace myself, so I'm not going to do that. But I am very grateful to Ken. I am very grateful to Lynn Novick, who's here. I'm very grateful to my wife, to my wonderful sons who got me up here, and I hope will get me off. In any case, I think I must be the luckiest history lover in the country. For some 35 years now, at least 35, Ken Burns and the public broadcasting system have permitted me to speak directly to millions of Americans about the past we all share, to offer a version of that history that is as complex and nuanced as we can make it, peopled by actual human beings who are neither uniformly virtuous nor uniformly villainous. Ian McLellan Hunter, for whom this wonderful award is named, was a victim of the McCarthy era, one of the darkest chapters in our history. I can't imagine that there are many people in this room tonight who would deny that we are now in the midst of a chapter that may turn out to be still darker. I'm 77 now, and reading the New York Times and Washington Post every morning, it seems sometimes that every progressive achievement made during my lifetime, from colorblind immigration to voting rights to preserving the environment, is under serious assault. Sadly, the lessons history is supposed to teach us provide no immediate comfort. Much of what is happening today is without precedent. History never repeats itself exactly in any case, though, as Mark Twain liked to say, and Ken Burns liked to repeat, it does rhyme. Still, I remain convinced that what we do is important, worthwhile. It's been my privilege to try to convey to the widest possible audience both the heroism and the humanity of a host of extraordinary men and women from our past: Thomas Jefferson and Mark Twain and Louis Armstrong. And no party, by the way, is complete without a little Louis Armstrong. Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Jack Johnson and Jackie Robinson, and the three great Roosevelts, Theodore, Franklin, and Eleanor. They were all remarkable and also remarkably human, riddled with flaws familiar to all of us. Understanding their failings should make us admire their achievements all the more. Seeing our forebears whole, as both bold and devious, brave and fearful, enlightened and ignorant, defeated and victorious, should reassure, not frighten us. After all, to know them and what they did when times were hard is to begin to know ourselves and see what we might do. Thank you very much.